Good evening. My name is Charles Lindsay, and I'm a grad student at Bryan College. This is my final project presentation. The subject of this talk is on the importance and benefits of team training. In preparing for this presentation, I reviewed 6 articles that kind of supported some things that I thought about team training, but actually learned some new things, and I hope you will too. So the first article that I reviewed was titled Success, Learning, and Risk. And it took a look at project management training in a team environment. And before they started the training, they actually did a lot of surveys from 14 different project teams and really surveyed the participants and said, well, what would you like to see in the training and how would you like for it to be administered? And the majority of the folks that responded said they would actually prefer that it be in a team setting or a team environment. The benefits of it would be that they would be able to talk and interact with each other through this learning process, which was very applicable to my project. The second writing that I used for this project was titled Does Coaching Matter? A multi-level model linking managerial coaching skill and frequency to sales goal achievement. This study investigated the link between using like managerial coaching and goal attainment. So how well that managerial coaching helps support attaining the goals as set by the organization. The research actually showed that whether it was one-on-one coaching or whether it was in a team setting, whenever coaching sessions occurred, the level of performance significantly increased. As relating to my project, and after digging a little bit deeper into this study, it actually showed that whenever coaching was provided in a team setting, that it actually helped give the team a sense of identity and actually camaraderie. The team members would be proud of their team and proud to be a part of the team. And even in the goal setting sessions of it, they would say things like, well, our team standard is very high, so that, this study actually supports that coaching in a team environment actually is what people want. They want to work in a team. They want to be coached as a team. The third source that I used for this project came from a very unlikely place. This was a 2017 posting posted in the Physicians Leadership Journal. And try not to laugh, this is pretty funny. It says, I found an article that discussed the benefits of obstetrics training in rural areas in Nebraska, North and South Dakota, and Minnesota. The study actually looked at some needs in rural hospitals as pertaining to delivering children. In some of these rural hospitals, the facility would deliver less than 100 babies a year, which is pretty low. So they knew that they had some training disparities. They knew they had some ground to cover, but they weren't sure how to go about doing it. So they actually got an organizational development specialist. It was actually a physician as well, to set up what this training looked like. And they did some needs analysis, sent out some surveys to the folks that were going to be receiving the training just to find out what they needed, where their skills were lacking. And then the OD specialist actually had to petition pretty hard with senior leadership to make this happen because it was going to be a significant cost incurred to bring these people from these rural areas to a central location to train them. But after the OD showed the potential return on investment, the senior leadership bought into the idea, and the training happened. The outcomes were significantly better than expected, and it's fantastic. So good stuff. So the fourth source that I used for this project was titled Integration of Project Management, Human Resource Development, and Business Teams, a partnership planning model for organizational training and development initiatives. This study showed that a lot of times senior leadership views human resource or human resource development as a supporting cast member, but not necessarily as a person that would be at the table when forming strategy. The research went on to say that the senior leadership felt that they could, determine strategy on their own, and then it would just kind of be a tell-do. They would determine the strategy, and then they would tell the HR department, hey, administer this, do this training. But actually, in reading this article, the most successful companies actually have a human resource person, leadership at the table whenever they are creating strategy and determining even vision for the organization. And a lot of companies have bought into that, but not all of them yet. My fifth source for this project was an article titled, What Does It Take to Be a Virtual Team Player? The Knowledge, Skills, and Abilities and Other Characteristics Required in Virtual Teams. So with the significant move to virtual teams, it's good that people can work from home, but there's not conversations around the water cooler. You don't see people in the break room. So a lot of that interpersonal communication just does not happen. Emails can be kind of cold and indifferent. But how do you train a team that is a virtual team? Well, this article kind of dived into that a little bit, and it discussed some of the issues. Like I previously mentioned, people don't see each other. Interpersonal communication is light. No nonverbal communication. It's an email or it's a video conference call. But one of the ways that was suggested in this article was to make training happen is you absolutely have to plan for it. It has to be scheduled. A lot of organizations use what you would characterize hope as a strategy, that they would hope things would get better or they hope people get along, but employing that strategy is ineffective. A good strategy is written down on paper, on purpose, with a plan and a desired objective, especially concerning virtual teams, which is already hard to get folks to work together. So this article basically suggested, and I would support that it was, the only way to be successful in this is to have a very strategic plan and be intentional about it. The final source that I used for this project was titled, Are you aligning training goals with your business goals? And basically the premise behind this article was that whenever you do set up training, what is the objective of the training? What is the end goal? It actually suggested in the article that you should start from at the end of the training. What are you trying to get people to do? What behaviors are you trying to get them to exhibit? Or what are you trying to get them to sell? And it said to start from the end. It did give 4 steps to establish, congruency, to kind of have a way forward to make sure that your training goals are aligned with your business goals. The first step was to define and keep the most important objectives in mind. So basically it's putting first things first. This means that you make the main objective of the organization, basically that training that happens should be the main focus so that it aligns. The second step was to break down the siloed walls. A lot of times whenever you get teams together and they're from the same department, their thinking becomes siloed, meaning that it doesn't really get outside of the bounds of what they know or they have experienced. A nice way to say it is siloed thinking can be narrow thinking or narrow-mindedness. And breaking down the silos involves actually getting people from other departments that might impact the department you work in. An example that it gave in the reading was that you not only invite the sales team, but you invite the marketing team and you invite the logistics team as well. so that you have all those folks in the room, so that prevents siloed thinking. The third step that it suggested was to watch out for training vacuums, which again, similar to siloed thinking, causes people to think narrowly instead of considering the overall operation or what this training or what these changes will do to the overall company. The fourth step states that all training should have a goal to produce measurable results. If results should be able to be counted or quantified or compared. So whenever doing training, it's good to say, oh, we're doing better than we were before the training, but you need to be able to measure it with a number or with the statistics. So that was the fourth step. So based on my research, I made 3 discoveries as pertaining to team training. One, team training must be supported by senior management. Not only just allowing people to go to the training, but even financially, training is expensive. The benefits of training can produce profits, but the actual training itself does not. So getting buy-in from senior management, and a lot of times that involves showing potential return on investment to get them to support that. The second discovery that I made was that team training should have an end result that aligns with the overall objectives of the organization, and that these goals that are created should not just come down from senior management. It should be in the context of having human resource development managers in the room as well, actually creating this strategy. So very important. The last thing that I found during this research was that team training builds relationships within an organization, even the virtual ones. Whenever the virtual teams that I spoke of earlier, whenever they planned their training and planned ways to engage each other, and it worked and it was beneficial. The benefits of having an engaged team would they help each other. The old adage, it takes a village, that applies here with in the team context, that they would help one another. As far as conclusions for other research, I would have to say that team training is a good way to share information, discuss training methods, create even synergistic thinking that causes everybody to bring their A game. My encouragement is I think that there could be more research done in this as comparing to training received one-on-one versus a team, which ones have better retention, better outcomes. I'd like to see more research done in that. And potentially with that research, it would enlighten, HR professionals and equip us in helping our team, because that's what we're here for, is to help our teams navigate through the continual changing policies and procedures and customer and organizational demands. So there's a lot more to study and a lot more to look at in this topic. So thank you for your time and have a blessed evening. Thank you.